So welcome everyone. This is the second, but the one we're recording, the MindTap and WebAssign, linking them into eClass little lecture. My name is Chuck Lynch. I'm the structural technology specialist for the campus and also teach for math and IT. I have Billy here, Billy Biersack from my office, and the representative from Cengage, Miss Amanda Carr. Um, I'm joined by these lovely people, and gonna try and go through this pretty quickly so we can show you everything that you need to know for bringing these into eClass Moodle so we can have the gradebook passed back and you can use the gradebook in Moodle more effectively for what's been asked of everyone. I'm going to share my screen. And note while you're doing this, don't use Google Chrome. There is an error with Google Chrome that seems that there's a little flaw that it doesn't really work out. So to add this as an external tool, we're just going to use this as we're going to use this in Firefox, Mozilla. So first step is just about anything in eClass is you turn editing on. You can see the button over here. We have I've already turned it on. Going to click Add Activity or Resource, and going to choose External Tool, and you can name this whatever you're going to be naming your content. Just for now, I'm just going to say Engage Content. What we're going to do first, I will show adding the WebAssign portion. So from the dropdown, you're going to click on Cengage, MindLinks, MindTap, WebAssign, and choose Select Content. We have Add a Homework Platform or just an ebook. Since we're using some homework, we're going to add a homework platform. And the books and content will be listed here. I just have to remember which one was the one I was using for the example.
Should be that one right there.
Should be this one? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amanda. So we're going to click Link to Course. We always suggest building your course on WebAssign or Cengage first. That way you don't have to build it in this small little window. So build the course content first on Cengage, so you'll be able to just go and click link to an existing course, which I don't have one at the moment. So we're just going to create a new course. Let's see, do I have a copy from existing? Aha, I do. So we're going to pretend this says link to an existing, but it's copy from an existing course. It's going to give you some options if you want to change any of the names. It is suggested that you make the due date or the end date later than the end of the semester. That way, if any students need a little extra time, or you have an incomplete with any students, you can just go ahead and add it without having to adjust all the due dates and all that down the line. Okay, so that's basically it. You'll just be adding your due dates there. I'm going to click continue. It's going to finalize the course. And once you click select content again, I'm going to click select content. And this is for WebAssign. So if we want to bring in everything that's listed here as an activity, we can click here. And Amanda, will this bring in each one that way, or?
So that is the course level link. So if you click that box, it's only going to bring in the main link. So in order to bring the individual assignment links, just click the checkbox to the left of each of the activity links.
Okay, great. And will that add to the gradebook too, or is it because they're not graded, they won't add to the gradebook?
In this case, this is a course that doesn't have homework in it, so there's no add to gradebook option, but if there were assignments listed here, there would be an add to gradebook checkbox. You would just want to make sure that box to the far right was checked in that case.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, so that would be here, and I can show that in the MindTap example, I guess, too, because I know I have an example course there. But yeah, once you've selected your content, you'll just hit continue. It'll finalize. You get a little blip with a green little notification, and save and return to course. And if that worked as expected, we should get, yep, several links. These links will lead your students directly to the content you have so chosen. And let's just see if there's anything in the gradebook for them. There's not. So since they weren't graded items, they didn't come into the gradebook. To set up your gradebook to be ready for these. So before I show this, the MindTap part, we'll prep the gradebook this time. Under setup, we're going to add a category. I'm just going to name this Cengage content. Simple weighted mean of grades. And say we want this to be 25% of our grade. So I'm just going to pick 25 and save changes. And just real quick, I'm going to, yep, so 25, that's going to be 25%. Great. Now, once we go in, add activity or resource again, choose external tool. I'm going to do Cengage content.
One quick note about the
MindTap.
activity name is it auto-populates when you select the
Okay.
link. So that will change likely to your course name once you add it back in. So just one note there in case you notice that it does change.
Okay, awesome.
That explains why.
Thank you. And I think I've changed it back to the way I named it before. It's still links, right? Yeah, I think I've seen it still link.
Yeah, I would just be careful about changing individual activity names because that can impact it could potentially break the link and cause the grades not synchronized with the grade book, but that's on individual assignment links. So just be careful with that. I would just name them what you want them named within the platform itself.
Okay.
That way you
good
don't have
know.
to change them when they're linked to Moodle anyway.
Perfect. Thank you. The way I typically add my stuff in, so for the course I'm teaching, I use MindTap. I'm just going to go and pick my book real quick because I know there's content to use. And I'm doing it just by picture, so it'll just take a moment. No, not that one. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Click link to course. I'm going to link to an existing course and use my example course that I created earlier and click continue. And you can see that since it's already created on the Cengage side, on the WebAssign side, MindTap side, that it's just going, I don't have to change the name or anything. The dates are set there. Click continue. You do have the option of doing an activity score. So this will bring it, if I'm correct, line by line.
Right. So activity by activity will show up individually in the Moodle gradebook based on what you decide you want linked at an individual assignment level.
And then the overall will just bring in the overall mean, right? For the whole thing. Okay.
Yep, their whole total MindTap score, and that will be consistently updated throughout the semester. So if they do their homework and they're at a 95%, then they take a test and it brings them up to 98%. That will consistently update that one column in the Moodle gradebook. Okay,
great. Thank you. For me, I usually do the add activity score so they could see each grade. If you're working, you just know you have one average. That's it. You just want that one item to come in. You can use that overall, and that'll just bring in, like Amanda just said, everything throughout the semester. I just prefer this because then the students can see it grade by grade and go, oh no, what am I missing? So I'm just gonna hit continue for here.
If you do choose overall score, they can still see their individual scores from MindTap. They just won't necessarily show up in Moodle. Some instructors that are teaching using MindTaps with multiple activities, like our world language MindTaps have hundreds of activities, so they may decide not to link all of those in individually because it can what some say clutter up the Moodle gradebook. It's just down to personal preference though.
Yeah, yeah, it is personal preference. I mean, I have 22 versus the hundreds that a language one could do.
Right.
So I have it honed down to where I want to see what the content is. So it is, yeah, it's specific to whoever you are, but and again, you have to click select content, and then it's going to give us the graded version. The way, since these all have a lot of activities, you can see I only have one graded activity here per chunk. That's why I'm doing it this way as opposed to doing it the group wise, just because I can see there's 11 or 12 things in there, and that's just easy enough to be graded. But oddly enough, it looks like if I add just the Excel one here and then just click on the graded items, they all just, I get one link, but then they all get linked to the gradebook still.
Go ahead and add that link to course checkbox too, to the left of each of those. I don't see it's checking them for some reason.
Yeah, I usually just use the one link to direct them. So this one will create just the one link to the course. And then if you want the students to see the link to the activity itself, you can use these checkboxes too. Perfect. Is that correct? Yeah. And that's just kind of preference.
Yeah, that would add it individually as an individual link opposed to as the group. So yeah, down to personal preference again.
Yeah. The way I do it is I just have one link in the course for the Excel chunk and then the access chunk.
Yeah, as long as the individual activities are added to the gradebook and showing up in the gradebook, then you should be fine if you want those individual activity scores to flow in.
Awesome. Cool. So I've added a bunch of these random ones while we're chatting. I'm going to hit continue, and it looks like it's going to bring in 8 different assignments, which typically I add more, but I'm not going to waste time by doing that right now. I'm going to click continue. And there it is. We got the little blip, got the green notification. I'm going to save and return to course. And come on, magicalness. There we go. So we chose the left one so we could see that there is direct links to those activities. If you want to just keep the one, I usually just use the one for a group just to go there for just not having to hunt for links. But if you are using these in specific weeks, you'll be able to move these around and add them week by week as well. So you can go into topic 4 and add in exam module 4 just into there by following those same steps that we just did and just choosing that one module. So you can go back and you don't have to do this once. You can do this multiple times per module, or you can move them around as you go. Once they're in the grade book here, we can see now that they're populated and the setup, they're outside of our category. So the way to quickly move them where they ought to be is to click the little check marks. And the reason we use, and you can see here, these two, I didn't check the left box, so they didn't come in as a direct link. They just came in as the gradebook item. But the reason we're using this method rather than, you can see Cengage content was the name of this, and there it is. It's already moved up. So this all being in here means they're all going to be equal weighted to 25% of the course grade overall. So there's no other extensive math that goes into it. It just all gets weighted to 25 points.
Can I interject, Chuck?
Of course you may.
Sure. So just one thing I'll point out. So right now you have it set as a weighted mean of grades. So one thing I'll point out is if you wanted it to be 25% of the course total, you would plug it into the weight box in the top where it's at 0, 0.
Okay.
So that's where you plug in 25% or 0.25 if you are a fan of the decimal values. Rather, though, if you wanted a different way, like so, like some faculty members like their percentages, so that would be the way that they would go about that. If a faculty member rather is a fan of point values that add up to 100 or whatever point value they're a fan of points
Mhm.
adding up to, uh, in that case, they would have already set up their gradebook to be natural aggregation, which would add up all the point values, in which case then the total 25 at the bottom would be the correct value to have. Because
Okay.
that means like so that 25 would be what stacks up in the gradebook. So if it's 100 points rather than 100%, that 25 points out of 100 would be representative of the 25%. If that makes sense. So if it's percentages, make sure the 25 is up in that weight box. If it's points adding up together, make sure 25 is the total at the bottom.
And Billy, what was the suggestion? Natural, then?
Yes.
And
So yeah, if you're using percentages, make sure you can keep it as the default weighted median grades for the entire gradebook. If you are having points adding up together, you would set your aggregation method as natural. Yeah. So
that would just be here.
exactly.
And those things are also, I mean, this is the way we suggest to do it, is the main grade book to be natural. Then each grade category has, you know, it's
Yeah.
remove the weight, and then this is going to be the category, and then this is the grade total. So if we had 4 more categories of 25, it would equal 100.
Exactly, because it's
And
adding
then-
up those point values. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it would still equate to 25% of the grade by, you know, division. Math. Where's Bill Nye when we need the math? So I think that's just about it, unless we have any comments, questions from the non-existent other viewers. But that's how you add it in. That's how you can link each type. We went over the WebAssign and MindTap, how they both come in. The MindTap showed the squares for adding into the gradebook. The WebAssign one, I didn't have any graded items at that point, but it would have been the same little checkbox. And they would have come in just the same way, however they're weighted. They do come in at 100 points. I do believe that is what is set as default for WebAssign Cengage. But would this come in if they did like if they wanted 10 point assignments? Would it come in as 10 points, Amanda?
Yeah, so that would need to be customized on the Cengage side. So I
Okay.
would change all of your point values and everything within the Cengage platform that you're using, and that's what we'll carry over here. So if it
Awesome.
was 10 points in Cengage, it would show 10 points in here.
Cool. That's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. I'm gonna stop my screen share, and thank you all for watching this in post, and thank you all for coming in person. Pleasure as always. If you have questions, my name's Chuck Lynch. I have Billy Biersack. Amanda Carr is over at Cengage, eagerly awaiting all your questions. We all are, honestly, we're super excited. Questions are good. If you have other questions though, please email onlinelearning@msmc.edu. And if you need to reach Amanda, we will connect you to Amanda with her very special link that she shares me every time I go, how do I send these to instructors? Yeah, thank you for all for viewing this in post. And again, email us if you got questions.